Hey guys, it's Bryony. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to do my 14/15 week bump date today. Just kind of update you guys on what's been going on these last 2 weeks. And I think I'm going to do these going forwards every sort of 2 weeks. I wouldn't remember or manage to do them every week, but I think every 2 weeks will be fine. So I'll just kind of give you an update on like some of my symptoms at the moment. And then at the end, I'll do a bit of a belly shot. So in terms of symptoms that I'm still experiencing, the nausea has pretty much, knock on wood, gone. I get bouts of it occasionally now throughout the week. Sometimes if I've had a nap in the day, I'll feel a bit grim after I wake up from that. I felt a bit sick last night after dinner, but typically I've been feeling a lot better. It started to get better. The nausea for me wore off, started to wear off around the 10-week mark, and then gradually has reduced as I've got further along. So I'm 15 weeks and 4 days today, by the way. I should also add that in. So it's gradually worn off. Food aversion wise has got better. I still have quite a lot of food aversions. I don't really feel hungry for anything. Like I'll feel like I need to eat. I'm hungry, but not for anything in particular. And if you kind of suggest foods to me, I mostly go, oh, can't think of anything worse. But if I actually smell the food like it's cooked for me, then I'm usually like, oh yeah, that smells good, I'll eat that. So it's got better, but there's still quite a lot of stuff I'm a bit like, ugh, too. So I don't know if that will go or if that's just gonna stay for the rest of the pregnancy, but that's something else that I found quite tricky because it's something I had with Lyme disease as well. So a lot of my symptoms have reminded me of being sick. Bloating, I have been so bloated. I was very bloated in early pregnancy and it kind of got a bit better. And then I think a couple of weeks ago, it just got to the point where I'll start off in the morning and I'm like completely flat. And by the evening, I look like much further along than I am in pregnancy. I am so bloated. So that's probably one of my biggest symptoms. Like I'm already in some maternity clothes not really because of a bump, but because of the bloating. Like that's been the main thing. Something else I'm dealing with is fatigue. Again, I had this in like very early pregnancy, and then I think it got better again around like the 6-week mark, and then it's got worse again now, and I get tired very easily, and I have no stamina. That's the bit that's really, I'm finding really difficult. Kind of linking into that fatigue is another symptom I have, which is low blood pressure. I cannot get my blood pressure up. It is still within like the normal range, but it's lower end. And they tell you to like drink lots and lots of fluid, and I'm drinking as much as I can and add salt to food, etc, etc, but it just like, it's really difficult for me. I've always had like a small appetite and a small stomach, so I find it really difficult to drink and eat a lot in general. Yeah, it's tricky when they're like saying you need to drink more, and I'm trying, but it's really hard. But yeah, that low blood pressure has led to me feeling really quite faint. I'm fine, generally speaking, if I'm sitting down, but if I try and get up and walk somewhere, then I quite often feel quite ill quite quickly. Like I just feel like I'm gonna faint or pass out. I have almost passed out once in the middle of town. That was not fun. I felt really, really ill. And that has kind of led to me being virtually housebound again, which is really difficult. So feeling faint, low blood pressure, that's probably the most tricky thing I have at the moment. And then finally, I think symptoms wise, the thing I'm dealing with is my mental health. I mentioned in my first video that I did kind of announcing my pregnancy that this pregnancy hadn't gone how I expected it to, and I've been really struggling with it. I did struggle with the nausea and I did get medication to help with that. But the main thing is around 10 weeks, I suddenly developed really bad depression, anxiety, and paranoia. They came in and it has just been like a roller coaster since then. I had always known about postpartum depression. I did not know about antenatal depression when you're actually pregnant. Oh boy, is it a thing. So that's been something really difficult to deal with over the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to go into too much detail about exactly what happened because I'm planning to do a video specifically about that because I think it's a really important topic. But I wanted to mention it in this video because I had thought I was better, that I was doing better, and then yesterday I had another bit of a wobble and I felt really low again, and it was really frustrating because I was like, I thought I had like managed to move past this, but clearly I haven't. I had already contacted my GP about it, who had referred me into like my local Wellbeing Program. So I've been on like this pregnancy CBT course, which is 6 weeks. I'm already doing that, and I think it is helping a bit, and it's been good to see other people kind of struggling in pregnancy, but the struggles I've been having have been quite different from some of the other women who are in the group. And so I found that a little bit tricky. And so I spoke to one of the therapists that runs it. She called me and we were having a conversation about how I was doing. And after a conversation with her, she said, I think you will get some one-to-one support for you afterwards. After the course finishes, you can move up to like higher level support, which I think is good. And the other thing is, today I had my obstetrician appointment. So because I've had quite a complex health history, and also because I was put on 2-level thyroxine because I had an underactive thyroid when I was doing fertility treatment, that also meant I needed to see an obstetrician. So normally you can just go with midwife unless there's a something more complex going on, they refer you on. So I was referred on. So I saw the obstetrician today, and actually I have to say they were really good today. I went to the hospital and I was quite nervous, and I was sitting in the chair feeling like I wanted to cry again because I was like, why am I so miserable about this whole experience? And then a lovely midwife came out and got me, and there was actually a student doctor training there, and I quite liked that I was sort of helping the student, if that makes sense. Like they were learning about, I was just the earliest pregnancy that they saw that day, so they'd seen a lot of women with like bigger bellies, and I'm only 15 weeks, so I'm like basically still tiny, and it was kind of useful for her for training and stuff, and that actually really helped me to feel like I was being useful in some way. And they did the Doppler sound so I could hear the heartbeat and everything, and they were sort of showing it to me and stuff, and it was nice. But again, I'm kind of struggling, so hearing the heartbeat doesn't really do anything for me at the moment. And then I spoke to the obstetrician afterwards, and it had already been on my records that I had been referred to the Wellbeing service, and she was asking about my mental health, and I was explaining like how I've been feeling and everything, and she was like, okay, I think we should refer you to the perinatal mental health team. And I was like, I am totally on board with that idea because I think I need a bit more help too. So then somebody actually from that team, who is going to be the midwife that I'm going to see, was able to come down to today to meet me, and we're able to talk about some of the issues I was having. And she was really nice actually, and took me to the desk to book in my next appointment, which is going to be after my scan, which will be a joint appointment with her and the obstetrician. And they kind of already had a team that support women, and they were very, very keen to say to me, the most important thing is you've told us now, we can get help in, there's, psychologists, and sometimes it could be medication is needed, and you're still really early in your pregnancy and we can do a lot to support you. And so that was really reassuring to hear as well. And I think the only other thing really in terms of medical stuff is that because of my Lyme, it's affected my liver. The obstetrician is going to speak to another specialist on the team who I think deals with gastro and other endocrine stuff, just to see if I need to be involved with that team too. So there's a lot of people getting involved, and I think there's another team around mental health that might get in contact with me or might not. They said it depends on whether or not they want me to have the appointment with the perinatal mental health midwife first. But I've got a lot of appointments coming up, and I feel better now that like everyone's aware that I've been struggling, and they definitely are very careful with pregnant women. I've never had so much intervention before, I don't think, with any of my health problems. So they're really kind of stepping up, which feels reassuring. And it was very nice to hear from the obstetrician. She said lots of women have this issue, so you're certainly not the only one, and we can help. So that was really good to hear. So I think that's it in terms of like symptoms and how I've been feeling and what's going on doctor wise. And my next midwife appointment is not until the end of September. Oh, the only other thing I had to speak to the obstetrician about just very briefly at the end was I still okay? We're going on holiday tomorrow to France, or I'll probably be there by the time you see this video, but we're going away. And because I've been having these fainting episodes, I was like, am I still okay to fly and to go? And she said, yeah, just take your notes with you. So that was good to know I could still go on holiday. But another thing I'm really struggling with is because I've been so faint, like I can barely walk any distance without feeling ill. I mean, we're talking maybe 200 yards and then I feel like I'm gonna pass out, or sometimes I can walk a bit further, sometimes I'm knackered and I just feel so ill. That this weekend just gone, basically me and my mum had a conversation, and she was like, Bryony, you are not gonna be able to go on this holiday unless we hire a wheelchair, because there's no way you can walk that distance. And even though I knew this kind of was coming up, it's still really difficult because I had to have a wheelchair before when I had Lyme disease, and it feels like a lot of pregnancy it's reminding me of a lot of health problems and a lot of other things from my past medically, and so that I think is a big factor as to why I've had so many issues, like mental health wise too. But I did agree with her, we did need to get one, so we've hired a wheelchair for 2 weeks, which will cover the week we're away and the week we're back, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that by the time we get back from France, the French air will have miraculously healed me and I won't need it anymore, because it's so bloody difficult to go back into that. I really don't want it. I really do not want to go in that bloody chair. But the truth was, it was either a case of, well, we either hire a wheelchair to help you get there and move around when we're in France, or we don't go. So those are the only two options really at this point, because I'm not well enough. And quite frankly, I'd like to go on holiday, so that was sort of easier to make that decision. But it is really difficult to feel like I've gone backwards so much, and particularly because I feel like, you know, I'm pregnant. I'm just pregnant. Loads of women are pregnant. This is ridiculous. Why, you know, most women don't need this, but then I'm having to remind myself that actually some people have really good pregnancies, some people have really bad ones, and I've had health problems before, so realistically I should have known there was a lot higher likelihood that I was going to need help. And you know, sometimes you don't, and you just, nothing can predict it, so I just have to accept that and find a way to work through it. But hopefully now there are so many professionals involved with me, I will be able to do that. So I think that kind of covers all my health things that I've been experiencing symptom-wise from pregnancy. By far the biggest thing for me is mental health. It's just completely all over the place right now, but I'm getting help, and it's really important that if you are pregnant and you're also struggling, you reach out and get help too, because there is a lot of help out there, and I feel a lot better knowing that I've got people supporting me and that they are very familiar with dealing with this. So I guess it's time to do a bump shot. So this is my belly just with my clothes on. You can see there really isn't anything there. And then if I pull this top up, these are maternity trousers, by the way, they kind of scoop under the bump. There's a little bit there, but to be honest, it's just squishy, so I think it's mostly just bloat. So that is my belly at 15 weeks and 4 days, I think, roughly that time. Baby at the last scan was measuring slightly ahead, so I'll be curious to see how they're measuring at the next one, which will be in around 4-ish weeks. Oh, one other thing, so my boobs have got bigger. That's one thing I have noticed. They're not massively bigger, but they are definitely bigger, which is slightly annoying because I don't like to wear bras because they usually hurt me because I've got a chest thing related to another old condition, and so I don't usually wear them, I'm still able not to wear them, but they are just a little bit more noticeable. But they're not sore or kind of annoying like to bump or anything, they're just a little bit bigger. But yeah, that's it for this week's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said before in my other videos, I'm planning to kind of take you along for the journey, show you the realistic side. I do really want to do a video specifically on like the antenatal mental health stuff, because it has just been so like out of the blue for me as someone who's never had mental health problems really before. To just be hit with this was so unexpected. And it's very difficult, I think, to feel this way when so many other people tend to have really easy pregnancies or be really happy about pregnancy, and you're there feeling like that's not me. And thank you for all the suggestions. People have suggested a few other YouTubers who've talked about this. Right now, I don't feel like I'm in a place where I can really watch anything to do with pregnancy, so I haven't watched any of those videos. It's kind of hard enough for me actually to edit this stuff, but I really want to put it out there, and in some ways, just doing this, just talking on camera, it's actually a bit therapeutic to me. So I will continue to do videos. I've got a lot of episodes in the My Journey to Solo Motherhood series that I have got to edit and put out because I filmed literally everything. So those will be coming out over the next few weeks, probably about one each week along with one of these videos, or maybe one or two, we'll see. But I hope you are enjoying coming along for it with me. I hope it's helpful to those of you who are having difficult pregnancies too, or who think they might struggle in the future, or those of you who are just interested to watch the whole journey. I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Do please subscribe, and don't forget you can still get cough pads and wet bags from my website. The link is down below. It's Precious Stars. We are still selling them, and we've just had some new stock come in of wet bags too. So if you're looking to start out, maybe get some new cloth pads for the winter, then be sure to check that out as well. Okay everyone, thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.